Hello. Thanks everybody for joining us today. I want to go through just a couple different topics of whether or not you need a web page or if social media can work for you. So we'll just jump right in. And these are the things we're going to talk about today. First, just the basics of having a web presence. So reasons why every practice needs a website, what you need to do to get started, factors to consider, including search engine optimization. And I have a couple, or at least I have one example website outline that we can talk about to kind of go through what's required. Also, how a website can help increase business, branding, and visibility. And I have a few example websites that are very well built to show you. Also, how social media can help you. So we have the top 5 benefits as well as the do's and don'ts. So first off, I want to talk about the basics of having a web presence. So the first point here, establish a digital presence just like you establish a physical presence. So this is basically to stake your claim that you're here. Everybody goes on the web. Everybody looks for various things there. So even though you have a physical presence, you need to have something on the web that shows that you're around these days. Next would be establish your medical authority. So you need to provide customized health information to existing patients and future patients. And you could do this by incorporating like white papers or case studies or things like that. Also, showcase your providers and staff. You can include photos and bios detailing education and training, just to kind of let people get to know you a little bit. Also, target your patients by communicating the services you offer. And, just a list of basic things that you guys offer, what you do. Tell your story. Just say hello and be real. Also, be the connector. You can connect patients to information or resources or to each other through your website. Another thing is being a portal for your patients. You can allow them to access their records, lab tests, prescriptions, whatever, just by a login there. Also, communicate quickly. You can make announcements on there. You can also react to health news when it happens. Another really, really important thing is to give directions to your physical address. You want people to be able to find you. Also allow clients to pay bills online. You can take payments through your website. There are various payment forms. And lastly here, having a website is one of the most cost-effective ways that you can promote your practice. Unlike most forms of advertising, you aren't pursuing the patient is pursuing you. So perhaps the patient types in your specialty or a specific condition or even your name on an internet search. Either way, they found your site. So the cost of building and maintaining a website is far less costly than the traditional forms of advertising and can also be much more effective. So now that we've got the basics down, I want to talk about what you need to actually get started to build a website. So the first thing is your domain name, the www.mypractice.com, whatever it is. So it's best to choose something, maybe your practice name or maybe a doctor's name or whatever would be appropriate and easy to spell. But one thing you want to avoid, like what is on this slide, don't choose something that spells something inappropriate. I've given a few examples that are actually live sites, and you can visit them and see what they are. They're not at all what the domain looks like. Like the last one is actually Speed of Art. However, it does not look like that. So you need a good domain name. Next is web hosting. So in order to actually have your website appear on the web, what you need to do is find a company that provides hosting that you like. And when you purchase the hosting, that makes your website be able to be viewed online. And here I've listed just a couple that I've personally worked with and had good results. HostGator, GoDaddy, One-in-One, Network Solutions. There are many, many others. and I'm not endorsing any of these by any means, but just these are some that I've had some good success with. And you can price shop on this. Cost doesn't necessarily inhibit anything. They usually provide about the same service. I would also recommend that you get an email plan to at least have one email, like an info account, info@mypractice.com, or whatever your domain is. And so typically you have to purchase an email plan like with a monthly or annual fee, not usually too expensive. And finally, you also need the obvious, a web programmer or an advertising and marketing agency. And the most important thing when you're shopping around is to view their portfolio before you're asking for a quote, because this is where the cost really can be, you get what you pay for. So super important to see their work, to like their work before you move forward with anything there. And when you're working with either a web programmer or an agency, sometimes they package together purchasing your domain name and your web hosting and email plan for you. So these are just things that you need to be aware of that will be happening whether you pay for them directly with your own account or if they create it for you. It will need to be done somehow. Just kind of going over the basics of when you're ready to create a website, looking for your programmer. These are a few things to just kind of keep in mind and maybe start jotting down some notes, and it'll be really helpful to your web developer and to your company. So just kind of walking through each one. Establish the aim of your website. So think about, is it to gain new patients? Is it to provide basic information? Is it to establish your practice as a leader in your specialty area? Your goal will determine all the decisions like in order to make your website. So we also have know your target market. So clarify this early on, as it will affect your theme, design, content, search engine optimization, usability, and your networking efforts. So in short, everything revolves around your target market. Don't just build a website without keeping it in mind. And it may just be your clients, like just letting them know the basic information, and that's okay. So next we have establish the theme of your website. So this is kind of like your brand and how you want to portray yourself. The theme should reflect the purpose of your site and reach your target market in a way that best speaks to them. So create a theme that will describe through design and content how your practice will meet the needs of your patients. Also know the cost. So how much will it take to get your website up and running? How much will it cost you to maintain per month over the long term? Should your site make money or not cost more than it brings in? You know, just something to think about. Make sure you get quotes and just realize everything that's going to be coming in for that. Know the time investment. How long will it take to build your site? What will you have to complete before its initial launch? What time will be involved in its maintenance? Just basic things. Also use keywords. So during your site's planning stages, research the keywords that people are currently using to find your industry or practice area. This way you can provide the necessary optimized tags and content as well as the website is being built. So the keywords are what Google or Bing or Yahoo will grab on your site when people are searching, typing in like, I need an optometrist or something. And so having the words that people actually type into the site, into the search engine on your physical site will help you to draw people to your site. Next we have make your site search engine friendly. So kind of elaborating a little bit more on the keywords. What will you need to do to make your website show up favorably in search engine results? And what amount of time and money are you willing to invest to rank above other competitors? And there are many, many ways to do this. You can do it organically, which is usually less expensive and also not as effective. There are also different avenues that you can go down to spend a little bit more money, like for Google AdWords or things like that. Also, make your website easy to use. So remember that different kinds of people will pass through your website, different levels of technological savviness, there are different age groups. Just make sure that your website is designed in a way that all users will be able to get information easily and quickly. Include patient forms. This one is super important for doctors' offices, just to keep PDFs of patient forms on your website so you can print them off at home and bring them in, ready to go. And a lot of patients really, really love this aspect. You can just do it beforehand and not wait 30 minutes in the office before the appointment. So also, don't forget to use pictures, maps, visuals, and color. And while it's text that sells, an alt-text page is really kind of lame these days. So if your page is not very interesting to look at, it's unlikely that any of the text will be read. You really need to engage the people and, you know, incorporate some nice imagery, but not too much of stock photography. You want to get it to really reflect the brand. Also, provide security, especially for PHI. You want users to feel safe when using your website, especially in regard to leaving their information or logging in to view their personal information. And this is a topic that you should definitely discuss with your web programmer, because they may or may not know exactly what to do with the security. So it's good to come, especially with that question, just ready to go. Also, decide who will maintain your website. So this is the second piece. We have the building, designing, developing at the beginning, but then once it's created, you may have edits, like maybe you add another person to your staff and you need to put their bio on, or maybe you have additional services that you want to list on your website, or maybe your patient forms changed or something. So you need to have a plan, whether it's somebody in-house or if you have a freelance web developer, you need a plan to just be able to do any sort of maintenance. And also having the login access to your website, whether it's username and password, FTP account, if it's a content managed site, and the site, the username and the password for that. Good to keep all the passwords in one place, just in case you kind of transfer ownership of anything. Also, write your initial content. And this is super important because when you go to a web developer, they may be able to help you create the content, but because you're the expert, it's good to get it straight from you. Even if it's just kind of a brain dump of information, you can have a writer kind of go through and make it easy to understand and structure it in a way that would be good for your website. But it's good for you to start thinking about exactly what you want to say, how you want to say it, and we'll talk about in a little bit a sample website outline that you can use kind of as a base to start. Also, monitor your site's performance. So there are some paid analytics as well as free ones, such as Google Analytics, that will help you monitor how your website visitors behaved once they get to the site. So it measures visits per page, amount of time people spent on each page on your site, what countries they came from. And this is really good information to both kind of guide their user experience, as well as know what pages are doing well and what pages aren't, or if there are some pages that they really need to be looking at, and maybe there's just not an easy way to access them. Lots of things you can find out from the analytics. Also, consider creating a blog on your website. So some people get turned away from the blog, which is understandable, and some don't. But blogs can increase the searchability of your site because they push new content to your website, and Google really likes that. So if you have a blog, you can talk about industry news, highlight a doctor or staff, talk about your new office location or like a special you're running for that month. And you may want to have a blog started just after or even at the same time that you launch your website. But decide beforehand, and also decide who will post and maintain your blog. And with the blog, you can also create a lot of different articles and then tell it when to post them. So you can kind of create a little schedule, and it will post automatically without you having to do it, which is a huge benefit. You don't have to keep constantly thinking up new information. You can just kind of have it in your back pocket. So here I have a couple different simple ways to incorporate search engine optimization, which is SEO. So first, we have create effective title tags. So this is something that your web developer will know about. It's just whenever you have the heading on the page, they use the title tag of H1, which is what Google grabs for pieces of the search engine. And also, focus on the title, description, and keywords of the page. So when you're writing your content, use words that regular people will use in their search, as well as detailed things, but definitely incorporate those pieces that people will be typing into their search engine. Also, utilize social sharing buttons when you can, especially on a page like a blog or maybe a photo gallery. And when you do that, that just gives you the opportunity to have more coverage, to be able to reach more people. If people find an image like of an office party that you had just really special and they share with their friends, and then your word gets around, which is the best way for that to happen, through word of mouth. Also, remove any type of duplicated content from your site. You never want duplicated content because sites like Google and Yahoo and Bing, they see that as a bad thing, as very salesy. Consistently add new and relevant content to your site. That's one of the top things that will boost your ranking with the search engines. And the easiest way to do that is through a blog, because it's content that you create and it appears on your site. You can have as much or as little content as you want, but as long as you're creating new content, Google likes it and they'll help you rank higher. Also build backlinks. This is maybe you're a guest poster on somebody else's site and then you're linking back to your site, or just finding ways to link within other sites back to yours. That would be a backlink. The more you have on your site, pointing towards your site, the more search engines like that as well, because they see it as credible. So publish newsletters. There are a lot of different newsletter services like Emma or Constant Contact or MailChimp, and when you have a newsletter that you distribute, you can also post it on your website, which is another way that you can constantly post new content. You could just have an archived newsletter page, and people can go in there if they want, or maybe nobody even looks at it at all, but the fact that you have new content on your site will bump up your rankings. Also use quality content. Don't just put words out there. When people go to your site, they want it to be meaningful, quick, efficient, and exactly what they're looking for. Interlink your articles. So this is, maybe you have a page talking about a certain area that you specialize in, and then at the bottom you reference another area of specialty, and then link those pages together so that it's easy to bounce back and forth. Or maybe at the bottom you say, and contact us for more information, and you link the contact us word to the contact us page, just kind of allowing them to smoothly bounce around your site. Also submit articles on community sites. So this is just a way to kind of get your word out there, get your name out there, get backlinks, and that can improve your search engine optimization. So here is an example website outline, just something that I kind of put together, which should be a good base if you're thinking about creating a site. So we've got the home page, which usually includes some kind of a scrolling banner, a couple different, like this example of Methodist Health System here. They've got different areas, a news section, a featured video, some quick links. You could have something on there, maybe that links to all your patient forms, because that would be a really easy way to have people go to your site and get quickly what they need. It's important to have some good some good content on your homepage that talks about who you are and what you do in some way, because that's the #1 page that Google will go to get information about you to put on the search engine. So that's the homepage. Then maybe a services page that talks about the different areas. And you want to be detailed without giving everything away. And then an about page, something about your practice or hospital, something that talks maybe about your history, when you started, who founded it, little story about that, and what you stand for. You know, you can incorporate your vision, mission, anything there, just kind of about who you are and why you're there. A patient login, you could create that in the main menu, or you could have it up like in the top right, you know, in this example, maybe where the contact us is. They could log in to see their records or lab tests. Also, payment options. You could allow people to go to your site and maybe pay their invoice online or input their insurance information and be able to pay that way. And so the most important page to have on here is location, an updated page with your actual physical location information. And you can drop in a map, either from, you know, there's Google Maps, there's MapQuest, there's all sorts of different map services where you can embed a map in here, as well as put the physical address. Everybody has a smartphone these days, so maybe they're on their way to your office, and they open up the location page, and they can see the map right there and be able to find you really, really easily. And it's also definitely important to have a contact us page that includes your physical address, your phone number, fax number, and some sort of an email or maybe a form field to be able to reach you via email. And a really, really nice touch to pulling out the phone number from the contact us page is to add it to the top right corner of the page, of every page. So in this example, where our search bar is here, I would actually recommend that they're probably so big that they don't have one phone number, but if you did have one phone number, removing that search section up there at the top right and putting your phone number right there, so it's super easy to find and just call you really quick without even having to click on any pages. So next I want to talk about how a website can help increase business for you, branding and visibility. So first, let's talk about increasing business. So your website is always available. It's 24/7, so your patients can interact with your practice when it's convenient for them. You know, maybe it's after work or maybe it's on the weekend. Everyone is on a tight schedule these days, and they may really appreciate the convenience of finding what they need without having to stop, call, and ask, filling out a form, signing up for a newsletter, reading a blog. They get to do whatever they need all in their own time. And interact and communicate with your patients regularly. So people keep you in mind if you keep in touch. It's much easier to sell to customers who already know and trust you. So keep in touch and stay on top of their mind. Regular email newsletters and updates to your website can help you better communicate with customers. Also, spending time updating your online profiles or networks you belong to, like Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+. And these are a low-cost way to get more of your practice online. Share your expertise. So it's not enough to provide just information about your services. Your expert advice may give you the edge over your competition and even bring the new patient in for you. Think of your website as an employee, presenting your customers with help and knowledge about your practice's areas of expertise. Also increase your customer reach. There's no other way to provide geographic reach of a website. The internet usage continues to increase year after year. So if you don't have a well-placed website, someone else is going to get your business. So your website puts your practice out there to be found by anyone, anywhere who's looking for what you offer. So promoting branding. Having your website is a good way to showcase the caliber of your work through the web design. So that's really important at the beginning stages of creating it, to create something that reflects who you are and what you do and what you stand for, and reveal your competitive advantage. Take the opportunity with your website to show why you're better. Maybe it's a scrolling banner on a home page that gives a statement of why they should come to you versus your competitors. Also, strengthen your credibility. A well-designed website will add credibility to your business and strengthen your brand. On the other side of that, a poorly designed site or an outdated website may portray your business as amateur, disorganized. So by providing your customers with information in organized, well-presented manner, you can show them how you anticipate their needs and set an excellent impression for all the transactions to follow. So super important that the design is done well. As far as driving visibility is concerned, search engine optimization is huge for your business. SEO is the abbreviation for that, and it brings your website to the top of sites like Google, Bing, and Yahoo, and implementing some best practices, like we talked about previously, can significantly increase your rank in these sites and potentially make you appear before your competition. So next, I want to show you just kind of a few websites that I pulled screenshots of their homepage that I thought were organized well and done in a nice way. So this first one, Pasadena Health Center, they've got their phone number up in the top right. They've got quick links in the top right as well to get to their social media pages, and their website menu is structured so it's really, really easy to find what you need. They've got a home button, services, payment options, hours of operation. They have a blog that will increase their search engine optimization, and a location button. The only thing that this one I think is missing would be the patient portal. I don't see any work with that. But it's a nice, clean design here, and you can kind of tell that they value families, and it's just very pleasant. So next we have the Las Colinas Medical Center, and they did a really good job with their branding. They have this red color that they use and the gray, and so they incorporated that throughout the site. And they've got a really easy way to connect on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, and it looks like they have a blog. And again here, they've structured it really nicely for that for the website outline, and it's easy to find information. They've got videos on here, quick information, and just well designed. This one is my personal favorite, Athletic Orthopedic and Knee Center, and it's just very, very clean, very kind of forward-thinking. They have, I mean, even on the right-hand side, they've got patient tools right there on this homepage for various things for the patients. And because it's sports-related injuries, it looks very sporty. So they did a good job reflecting their business through the design. And again, they've got that phone number at the very top, and they've got social media right there. So they're probably doing really good work boosting their SEO. So now I kind of want to talk about a little bit about social media. So social media includes sites like Facebook, Twitter, Google+, LinkedIn, all sorts of different pages, and they can help you boost your business. So I have here the top 5 benefits of how social media can help you. So the first one, customer engagement. A simple search on a social media site is the best start. So if you're trying to introduce your practice, a search can help you find a community of people interested in your field. If people are already talking about your brand, you can join in the conversation. If the conversation is positive, you can introduce maybe a call to action to encourage people to come in or get checked out. Or if you hear something negative, you can ward off potential threats by setting the record straight. And it's really important, even when it's negative, to come in and talk about how to set the record straight. So the best part of all this is that social media is conversational in nature, and people want to talk. So reach out to them, and you'll be pleased with the results. Revenue creation. Social media expands your exposure. So it increases traffic to your site, it creates interest in what you do, and it gives you the opportunity to offer promotions or specials to seal the deal. especially sites like Twitter and Facebook, can really kind of boost your visibility if you have some sort of a price break or maybe a fall special that you're offering. Also, building loyalty. Customers are more likely to stay with their brand if they trust you. So social media can enhance this. If you show that your practice lives by its values, or people with the same values will respond. And social media enhances the relationship with clients by establishing open lines of communication. If a customer tweets a question or a complaint about you and is immediately answered, that strengthens the bond with your brand. So be present in the dialogue, and customers will really, really appreciate it. Thought leadership. You can connect with your fans and followers and meet new ones by engaging in intellectual discussion about your area of expertise. So maybe you link or you post a blog post that you wrote about some type of intellectual topic about your area of specialty or expertise, and just sharing that with those people. And if it's interesting, they may share it with their friends, and then your exposure would just grow. And lastly, we have search engine optimization. We talked a little bit about this before, and as much as word of mouth works, many people go straight to Google to search for what they need. And having active accounts on various social media sites can help your company have higher ranking in the search results and can be more likely to show up in a search. And you may have maybe 5 listings. You have your Facebook, your Twitter account, your website, your blog, and whatever else you might have there. So it can really boost business, and it can be fairly inexpensive too. You just have to have somebody to monitor it and to engage with customers. So a few do's and don'ts. Look at your competitors. Before you launch or rework your Facebook page or Twitter feed, get a feel for how other members of the industry use these sites, kind of get ideas about what they do and what works, or maybe even identify an unfilled niche online. And also tap into trade groups for resources. They often list stories of events on their website that you can share with customers or post that's both easy and relevant. And get personal first. So if you're not familiar with Facebook or Twitter, start a personal account to kind of get used to it and feel it out, see how it goes before you start working with your company on it. And the next one, which I think is most important, is minding your P's and Q's. So few things hurt your credibility as much as typos, poor grammar, and bad information. So read your posts over once or twice before you post them online, and they should be as error-free and as any full-page ad you buy in a newspaper or magazine. Include photos. So pictures grab a lot more eyeballs than standalone text.
Katie, I don't hear you anymore. Are you still there?
Can you hear me?
Yep, now I can hear you. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, let's also don't post too much. Few people wade through like 20 or 30 posts a day, nor do people appreciate bland, vague initiatives like have a great day. So be really post things only that are important and not fluff. But don't post too little either, which is our next topic. Make sure you have something to say, maybe once or twice a day, and never go more than 3 days without putting up a little tidbit, because out of sight is out of mind. And another important topic is setting a social media policy. So this means designating a person or maybe a group to handle posts for a uniform voice. And you can also clarify what kinds of photos you allow on your site, just kind of giving them some parameters. Be prepared for blowback. So social media puts you close to your customers, but it can be happy or unhappy. But don't let the negative keep you off the internet. With review websites like Yelp and Angie's List, your customers we'll talk to you about whether or not you're there to defend yourself. So you need to stay on top of that. Also, skip the aggressive sales push. You're going to turn off everybody if you do that, and that would be the last thing that you would want to do. So the idea is to stay fun and engaging so you can build a brand and a steady client base. And you should kind of look at these social media outlets as a customer retention site rather than a sales vehicle. And lastly, it's okay if you're not ready for social media. So if you truly don't have the time or content for one of these accounts, and you'll be one of those businesses that tweets every 3 months, you don't have to force it. So only do it if you're ready and if it's right for your business. And are there any questions?
Okay. I'm going to take control back. And yes, we do have a couple of questions. What is involved in making a site secure?
With making a site secure, you know how in the URL you see http://? So that, when you see that, just HTTP alone, it's not technically a secure site. You need to have the HTTPS in there. The S is important. And you should talk to your web developer about this because they'll be the ones that are implementing the site. And so there are various ways to go about it, but they'll be able to give you the specifics and the best way for the site that you're building to be secure.
Okay. Would the web developer be able to get into the website to see any PHI?
It depends on how it's built. My guess is probably not, because it'll be a component within the site that you provide them, because my impression is that it's built with the EHR and then it feeds into it, so I don't think they would have any access. I'm not positive on that, but I'm pretty sure they wouldn't be able to see any of that.
Okay. You've partly answered this one in your presentation, but I'm going to go ahead and ask it. How effective or ineffective can social media accounts such as Twitter, Facebook, and Tumblr, can these boost you with the younger patients?
Yeah, the younger patients are, if we're talking like teenage age, a lot of them are on Instagram. And so if that's the area that you're really trying to get to, get on Instagram, get on Twitter. But you have to really, it's really important to be relevant and to be kind of a little spunky and interesting. Maybe talk about topics that are related to their age group. But the younger crowd, as far as teenagers are concerned, are kind of getting away from Facebook. That's more late 20s and up. The younger crowd, I would say Instagram and Twitter for sure.
Okay, next question. A local business creates apps for companies. Would this be recommended?
Yeah, apps are great for businesses. You have to make sure that it works on multiple platforms, because we've got the iPhone, we've got the Samsung phones, we've got the HTC and BlackBerry, a whole bunch of different platforms, and even like the iPad or different tablets. So once you get into the app world, they can be great for business and people love them. You just have to make sure that you can do it across platforms.
Would it be the same kind of information on the apps that you would have on the website?
Well, it depends what exactly you're trying to do with the app. Maybe if you want to access their health records, that could be kind of a cool deal with the app, like a quick way to get onto it and have a login component there. Or if I wouldn't put the same information that's on your website on an app, because that should be covered by having your website. So, and sometimes you can do like a mobile site. I would definitely recommend when you design your site to do something that incorporates what's called responsive web design, which allows your website to be resized no matter what platform it is. And but no, an app should not include the same information as your site.
Okay. Last question. Why is it important to rank high with Google or other search engines?
So people find you.
So if you ranked high, you'll be the first person on the list?
Yeah, so for instance, if people search for an endocrinologist in Google, and maybe they live in Houston, so it'll grab the Houston IP address because they know they're in Houston. So when they type an endocrinologist in, say, Google, it'll pull up endocrinologists that Google decides to rank in a certain order. And if you haven't taken advantage of any of the ways to optimize your site, you may appear on the 8th page, and chances are that people won't go to the 8th page and they won't see you.